This is the Research Academic playlist. In this series, we will walk you through the moment you think of a research idea, all the way to submitting, publishing, or defending your work. We understand that many students fail research not because they are not smart, but because no one explained the processes clearly. This video fixes that problem. Before we talk about ethics, you must understand how research works as a whole. Now, what is research? Basically, research is a systematic way of answering a question or solving a problem using evidence. Research is by no means, in no way, copying information from the internet, writing opinions, or guessing answers. No, research is neither of these. Research is actually asking a clear question, collecting data, analyzing that data, and then drawing conclusions based on evidence. So, evidence based research. An example is now the doctor notices that many children in your locality, which is in Kumasi, arrive late at hospitals with severe malaria. Then your research will then ask, why is diagnosis delayed? This is a genuine question that could be the start of a research. And the next thing is how a research idea becomes a study. So the first thing is a broad idea. Now they present at the hospitals with severe malaria. So now we know malaria is the problem. Malaria is the culprit. And so how did the problem come about? It came about by a delayed diagnosis, which then caused the severe malaria. The next step is to make it researchable. So what factors influences delayed malaria diagnosis among children under 5 in your region or in Kumasi? This step is very critical because a research question must be SMART. S for specific, M for measurable, A for achievable or answerable with data, R for relevant, and then T for timely. Your research should be timely. And then we go on to your objectives. So objectives, what are objectives? Objectives explain objectives or the aim of the study. An objective explains exactly what you will do to answer your research question. What exactly you will do to answer your research question. Now, think of objectives as your research to-do list, where you tick to know, okay, this is where I've got into this, this is what I'm supposed to do next. And objectives comes in two forms. We have the main objectives, the main objective, and the specific objectives. So the main objectives usually, in a way, is like the topic of your study. So for instance, we are working with what factors that influence delayed malaria diagnosis among children under 5 in Kumasi. So your main objective will be to identify the factors that influences delayed malaria diagnosis among children under 5. That's your main aim or your main objective. And then we go on to your specific objective. So your specific objectives will then culminate into your main objective. So as a checklist, you take as many specific objectives you would have. They will then help you answer your main objective. So your specific objective for this particular question would be to assess caregivers' knowledge of malaria symptoms. That will be your first objective. The next one will be to identify barriers to early health facility attendance, because what causes the delay for their diagnosis? Is it something that is preventing them from coming to the facilities at an early point where we can then identify and diagnose them appropriately? Okay, yeah. So This could be your specific objective. And then the next one we can think of is to examine health system factors contributing to delayed diagnosis. What are some of the health care system factors that are contributing? Is it that there are no healthcare facilities in that locality? Even if there are, is it that they don't have qualified doctors to help with diagnosis? Is it that they don't have medication that could help? Is it that caregivers are not actually trained to identify these symptoms that they probably mention that you have this disease and treat you wrongly? Okay, so you want to examine how this health system factor contribute to the delays in diagnosis. Each objective, note here, must later connect to one, a data collection tool and a data analysis method. Each objective, because when we get to the methodology, you understand that the kind of data you are going to collect will help you answer your objectives. Okay, if you are supposed to collect numerical data, you have to know how to go about it. And so we don't just go in and collect any kind of data. Okay. All right. Then from there we go on to your literature review. Literature review answers the question that what do we already know about the topic? Okay. Literature review is very important, and some supervisors will tell you it is the most important part of your work. What has been done about your topic already? And we have it in a funnel method or in a funnel manner. So the broader, then it narrows to the tip. So in a global perspective, what do we know about malaria? What has been done in the topic of malaria? You talk about that. And then if you are in Africa, you narrow it down to Africa. What do we know about malaria? What has been done? You narrow it down. If you're in Ghana, you narrow it down to Ghana. What has been done in Ghana? In all the regions we have, what has been done in all of these regions? And then you narrow it down again. You are in Kumasi, you are in Greater Accra. Okay, what has been done in Greater Accra? What has been done in Kumasi? Let's say you want to go a step further. Instead of Kumasi, you are limiting yourself to a community in Kumasi or a community in Greater Accra in any region. And so then you go on further to know what has been done about malaria or the topic in question in that community. So that's how your research, literature research should go, like from the broader perspective globally, then you narrow it down to your community or to your region or your locality. So it helps you to avoid repeating works that has been done already. It will even help you to identify gaps and then also justify why you are going to conduct this study. Now, example, you are going to search for malaria diagnosis in Ghana, caregiver health, seeking behavior, pediatric malaria outcomes. All of these are search texts that can help you with your research work. And now, how can you or where can you search for these manuscripts or articles? So we have search engines. So for instance, one is the Google Scholar. Google Scholar is one of such engines that can help you to download or get credible reviews of papers. We have the PubMed, we have ResearchGate, we have Cyber, we have Scopus. We have a lot of them out there. Okay, so you go in there and you don't have to go through all of these search engines. One or two will be enough because you don't need a lot of research review for your research to be seen as good research. Okay, so you just get a number of them, you make sure you read, you understand, and then you then populate your research review or your literature review. And so you have to pay attention to that. And then we have referencing and organizing sources or referencing tools. Now, for starters, why should we reference? Referencing avoids plagiarism. Okay, when you say plagiarism, is quoting a particular quote and not citing, not giving the credit to who said it. Okay. In a way, it's like you are saying it and you're not giving credit to the person who actually said it. And so that is plagiarism. Again, plagiarism is copying into details, point by point, of what someone said without paraphrasing. Okay. And so you have to reference so that it will show that you are academically honest, and then it will strengthen the credibility of your work. And so referencing is really important. And so in this, we have other tools that can help you with referencing. You can do it manually. Okay. You can do them manually. And so there are different styles of referencing. We have APA referencing style. We have the Harvard referencing style, Vancouver. We have a lot of them. Okay. But then there are tools that can help you. If you're not going manual, go with tools that can help you. We have the Zotero referencing tool. We have the Mendeley referencing tool, and then the EndNote. For Mendeley, I know it's free. For EndNote, it's free to a point, and so you'd have to pay after some number of papers you download. And so look for the one that is friendly for you to use, and then you can go ahead. Then, for this particular playlist, we are looking at using all three to teach you how to reference with all three. Or you just pick one or two of them, and then we'll create a video out of it to help you know how to cite while you write. Okay, then from all these, you get to your methodology. That is one of the main or one of the important aspects of your research. So your methodology will explain what data you will collect, how you will collect, and from whom, and why this method is really important. Okay. So the methodology, we have different types of data you can collect. One method is the quantitative data. Okay. So quantitative analysis or quantitative method of collecting data. So in this one, we are looking at surveys, we are looking at measurements or numerical data. So example, the number of days between system onset and then diagnosis. So we have 7, 5, 12. Yeah, these are all numbers. And so they are quantitative. Okay. And then we have qualitative. These are basically words or experiences. Okay. So you can get all of these from interviews. We also have focus group discussion. So focus group, for instance, you can have all lab people or all nurses gather at a point, and you throw the question to them. One question, you send it to them, you listen to their answers, ideas, and then you jot them down. Now, qualitative data can also be open-ended responses and closed-ended responses. Okay, so open-ended responses are those ones that you just ask the question and you give the flexibility, or you give room for your participants to give you the answers. And from this, it's often that you will get more themes popping up. Okay, so in open-ended questionnaires or responses, we have something called saturation, where at any given point, you realize that it's the same theme that is popping up in almost the same question you're asking. Almost the responses that come are the same or they are similar. So you have open-ended responses and you have closed-ended responses. So for these ones, you have an idea of how or what is causing what you are looking at. And so you will list these questions down, and then you go and ask the participants. Okay. So it doesn't really give room for new questions to be added, right? But then for open-ended responses, you can get new questions that will come up. Someone will give you a response, a feedback, and you realize, oh, I have to add this. What is causing this? And then that will also contribute to the whole questionnaire. Okay. The methodology can also take these two forms, either qualitative or quantitative. So it combines these two, and we call it a mixed method approach. So now, what is a questionnaire? It is a structured set of questions asked the same way to many people. Okay. And we have um, digital tools that can help you collect your data. We have the normal, conventional, traditional one, which is the questionnaire on a hard copy. Okay, so you take it to the field, you ask your questions, you fill them, and then we have the digital one. So you just transfer the information on the traditional one to the online one. So we take time and also take you through one or two of these data collection tools. So the first one we look at is Kobo Collect or Kobo Toolbox to help you to put your questions there. It has an online and offline functionality. And so you don't have to worry about that. We also have the red card. This is commonly used in clinical research. Okay, it's paid. You have to pay and then they'll set it up for you. And then we also have a simple one, the Google Forms, as we all know. And so Google Forms works like the Kobo Collect too. Okay, yeah. So we will take you through Kobo Collect and Google Forms to let you know how to populate one. So when we say interviews, what do we mean? We mean a one-on-one conversation to understand the experiences of a group of people. We also have group discussions, exploring shared experiences, and that is what we term the focused group discussions. Group discussions, but then interviews are one-on-one conversations. Okay, so focus group discussion, as I mentioned, could be group of nurses. You want to find out what is causing the delays in reportage from their perspective. Okay, you talk to them and then you see them one-on-one, and then the one-on-one is the interview. Okay, so that is the difference between that. Now, after you've gone in for your focus group discussions and then your interviews, how are you going to extract your data? Okay, so it's advisable to go with audio recorders or your smartphone to record. You also have something called the otter.ai, okay, to help you to transcribe the data into audio. We also have InVivo and then the atlas.ti. All right, now we are so blessed in this era that we have AI. But then it goes without saying that you have to use AI responsibly. We know that AI can help with summarizing our papers, summarizing ideas, concepts, drafting outlines, all of these things. But then it must in no way write our thesis for us. Because we know it has these limitations of creating fake references. No matter how you tell it to give you verifiable references, it will still come out and give you fake references. Okay. And that also contributes to academic dishonesty. Okay. And it should not replace your critical thinking. If we leave AI to critically think for us, it will get to a point we become so daft that we can't even think for ourselves. And so responsible use of AI, they should guide us. Okay. So data analysis tools, you have a lot. You have a lot. The most simple one is Excel. Excel can help you with cleaning, harmonizing your summaries. You have advanced Excel where you can use it to create visuals, tables, graphs, and what have you. We also have the SPSS. We have the GraphPad Prism. We have Python. We have R software. We have Stata. You have all of these statistical tools there. And this playlist will take one or two of them and then we'll teach you how to use them to analyze your data. Some of the analysis, you have to understand what to use, what not to use. Okay. So these ones I've mentioned can be used to analyze quantitative data or data that are in terms of numbers. Okay. So when we go into qualitative analysis or qualitative data, I mean, we are talking about the words and experiences and themes that pops up. We have InVivo to help with that. We have atlas.ai. You can manually code it for yourself if your study has a small sample size. Okay, you can manually do the coding. But then if you are working with large data sets, you can go in for in vivo or atlas.ai. One key thing in research is planning and timelines. Okay. So why planning matters? Research takes a lot of time. So poor planning can lead to failure. We have others. It happens really after postgraduate or during postgraduate. So for the masters and PhD, research-based master's work takes approximately 2 years. Okay. So 1 year for thought course, 1 year for research. But there are instances where poor planning or one challenge or the other causes this to extend your research to extend. Okay. And so timelines will actually guide you to know whether you're on time or you are lagging, you are within time, so that you don't complete something you're supposed to complete in 2 years and then complete it after 5 or 6. Yes. So for instance, your timeline, literally you want to do it within 4 weeks. Okay. Your ethics approval, you want to get it within 2 to 6 weeks. All these things, they are flexible, it can change. Yeah, but then having a timeline can guide you. Okay. Your timeline should also be flexible, allow more room and not so much room, not so small timeline. Okay. And then your analysis and writing taking 4 weeks. There are some challenges that you can face. Your supervisor not reviewing it on time, finding difficult to do one or two things in the research. Okay, so this can contribute to lagging here and there. But in general, having a timeline will help. Having a timeline will really help you. So then we look at why ethics. Okay, so for ethics, you cannot collect any data involving humans or animals without going for ethics. You cannot start your research. If an ethics committee or an ethics board finds out you started a study without them giving you approval, you will be sanctioned. Okay. So for ethics, before you start your research, we have the IRBs, Institutional Review Board. So your organization, so let's say universities, for KNUST, we have the CHRPE. For Legon, they have their own IRB, Institutional Review Board. For Ghana in particular, we have the Ghana Health Service Ethics Review Committee. And so for research work that you think will have a broad impact on the Ghanaian economy, or that's going to go span the whole of Ghana, the whole region, okay, you then have to go for ethics approval from the Ghana Health Service. So ethics is something that is protecting the participant or the patient. It's also protecting the researcher, the animal in question, and the institution. Okay, so they are responsible use of the blood you will collect, where you will store your data, how you are going to protect whoever is going to collect your sample for you, how you are going to store your data. So all of these things contributes to your ethics approval. So you take time and then take you through the Ghana Health Service one, how the forms, the documents you are supposed to fill, the documents you need. We also take you through that of KNUST. And if there is room, we will look at the one for Legon. So thank you. Now that you understand how research works from idea to analysis, the next step is your ethics. So we are going to take this later and then we'll finish with this and then we then start from what you do in your introduction, your methodology, your data analysis, your results interpretation, discussion, and then your conclusion. We'll go through all this. See you in the next video. Thank you.